going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Most of you out there, or a lot of you out there actually, follow me on Instagram as well as watch me here on YouTube, and you've been following along. We put a lift in the shop. I've spent actually quite a few days doing that. Kind of clear, and between installing the lift, coming out here, I know in a lot of pictures I have on Instagram and stuff like that too. There's my big white truck packed with stuff. I've been going through, digging up, cleaning. You remember all the old stuff I pulled out of that shop that was on some of the old benches, some of the old woodwork, a bunch of stuff I pulled out of the house as well. Old boxes of car parts and stuff that I had sitting here. I still got a little bit right there I need to clean up. You see, there it is. Got my son's Range over there. We got packed full of stuff. So we got to dump these two, take these two to the dump, come back, finish picking up all that stuff. I got a bunch of other stuff down there at the house as well for our laundry room that I've been redoing. But fun. But I've also been taking time. See, I'll come back here, get a nice good shot of that. Got a lift in the shop. Life's going to be a lot easier for me. Gonna have to relearn how to install transmissions and a lot of other things because I've been so used to crawling around on the floor and doing it that way. But it's awesome. I'm happy. I'm excited, really. Hopefully things go a lot smoother. I'll be able now to get up underneath the car with you guys and not slide around on the little creeper. So you can see there's the rear of the 8.8 that we've narrowed and installed. There's our transmission lines that we've redone and routed. There's the crossover tube for the turbo. Down and around. See some of the nice pretty welds I got on there. Get a good look at the steering I have in this car. It's a manual rack and pinion. As you can see, no steering box, which allows me for the turbo to come around the way it does. You can see the rear lower control arms, some of the suspension I really have underneath here. You know, a lot of the Mustangs, they have the little cups up here with the radius arms that come all the way down. A single stamped steel control arm that comes down to here and gets held into place by that radius arm. You can see we did away with that. Tubular lower, tubular upper. This car was originally front drum, but it has the disc brake conversion. Nothing real special for the disc brakes. It's basically a stock replacement, and it's all manual brakes. Stops very well. And of course, the last thing we did to this car while it was on the ground was our get used to that, is our transmission core. Now when I left off, I had the fan on this side and it did cool. Like I said, it drove it, didn't get above 100 and between 170 175 cruising. But with it on the ground and you were coming up from the back, it looked silly, kind of funny to me because I could see the fan right here and the wiring. I figured I didn't want to try to hide it a little better. So if you come back and actually look at the car, you might be able to see a little bit of the transmission cooler, but to me that just looks a lot cleaner. And of course it'll hide a lot more while it's on the ground, but it's enough of that. Like I said, I'm still waiting for the transmission pan that I ordered so we can get that changed out. Then I can pull these off here. We'll put this temperature thermostat in the transmission pan. That way I get a better reading of the transmission temp. And also still run the remote wire there too so I can manually flip it on. Other than that, this is all pretty much done. Just waiting on those parts for the transmission. But another reason I got this thing up on the lift is because I got these tubes here, and this is where my old driveshaft hoop was attached to. So I've gone ahead and already cut off the old brackets. I got my new one sitting up here. So I'm going to get these guys kind of set up into place real quick. Take some measurements, cut off what I don't need. Kind of center it up, see where it sits, get the bottom strap in place because now we're pretty much at full droop. Make sure that clears. And once we got that set up, then I'll go ahead and put the car back on the ground. get some weight sat on it. That way we can figure out where to put the top loop. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Get myself set up and start installing this bottom section. All right, so we got the pieces bolted up, kind of put together. Got them sitting up in here on the old brackets that I had, and it's just sitting there. You can see how far away I have it from the drive shaft. Rotate it over just so you can see how far away from each one of the bolts the weight is. So definitely plenty of clearance. So that'll work out for us. Now the last drive shaft hoop I had in this car, I had it welded. You can see up in there, like this is where I had to cut the weld to knock the old bracket off on both sides. I still have a little bit more cleanup there to do. As you can see, I started doing this, but this time I'm not going to weld that into those brackets. I want to be able to remove it later if need be. I don't want to keep welding things into this car and then keep cutting them out, because for either I find a better piece or something breaks or gets twisted up. It's just, if I don't have to, it's much easier to bolt it. So on these hoops here, I'll show you. There's a hole right there, and back here it also has another hole up underneath all this stuff I got to clean up. You can see the other side, there's one. And maybe if I come over here on this side, you might be able to see the other one. Yeah, back in there, but there you go. So what I'm gonna do is I'll mark the holes where they line up with these bars. I'll drill all the way through this bar, all the way through and into the floor of the car. Basically sandwich that whole assembly in there. Now, these are the old pieces I cut out from my last drive shaft hoop, and they're the perfect width, so I'll have one hole here and one hole up here. I'm going to clean off all the old welds here, kind of get it straightened out so I can get it marked with the holes drilled, and I'll have the bolts go through these holes, and I'll weld the bolts to these plates, drop through the floor, and kind of sandwich everything together so it'll be nice and tight. And that way, if anything breaks or gets twisted up or I need to service something, I can easily just unbolt the thing. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to finish getting some of this stuff cleaned up, get my holes, or get the spots marked where I want to drill, and start drilling some holes. All right, so we got everything cleaned up, got our holes drilled. I've gone ahead also and cleaned up the brackets, got the bolts welded to our sandwich plates that go inside the car. We got our little wild one up here hanging out. Say hi, Benjamin. Hi. He's been up here having fun, wandering around. He's getting a kick out of being able to walk back and forth underneath the car. So, but anyways, here's what we got. So here's the bottom half of our drive shaft hoop. That's going to go sit in the car, or on the bottom of the car. It sits on our tubes right here. This guy here goes inside the car through the floor, sandwiching the floor, and then bolts into the tube there. Kind of an easy setup. Make it nice and quick. Like I said, I want to be able, my last one I had in the car was all welded up to that tube I had in there. And I've been cutting things out of this car for the last few months, redoing it. And I want to quit welding to the car. I don't mind welding these things up if I have to, but the less of this stuff I weld to the car for me to cut off later, the better. Give you guys a quick view right now. So, should sit right up in there. Oh. Sorry about the noise. A little difficult doing with one hand, but there you go. So there's where our holes line up. This guy here goes through there. So now I got left to do right now is we got to get the car back down on the ground so I can put those plates in, get them through the floor, get them bolted up. Also get the suspension all the way up so I can get a good mark or see where I can put the top half of our drive shaft hoop. So I'm going to do that real quick. So I'll see you guys here in a second. All right, I'm back. So we got the car on the ground, got our mounts installed from inside the car through the floor, and here's what it looks like. Like I said, it sandwiches the floor here, comes through the drive shaft loop, and then gets bolted up down here. So it looks really good. Actually, it pulls the floor nice and tight, so everything's nice and solid. Now you can see here, I got this piece of paper as well to show you how tight the drive shaft fits. And this is with the suspension all the way down. You can see how close it is. It comes really, really close to rubbing the weight on the drive shaft. So, I mean, it will most likely rub a little, but that's if the suspension is all the way down, and I don't feel that unless I'm jumping the thing, I don't feel the suspension should get that far down, but I do have to take it out for a drive just to double check, make sure everything's good. If it does end up hitting there, then I'll notch the holes or find a happy medium between the bolt holes on the lower part. Let me show you here real quick. So I originally had it bolted here. So you had this one here. This sat down about here. I felt that was too low. It had about that much gap between the drive shaft and the bottom of the loop. So we notched it a little bit, moved it up to give it some clearance and not have the bottom of that hoop stick down so far. So like I said, it does clear. The little paper fits in there. Say hi, Seth. Hello. I said the little paper does fit in there. It doesn't rub right now, just a little bit on the weight. So I'm good with that. Like I said, I do have to take it for a drive. I got the top half of the loop on as well, like I said. I was gonna do. I have it on the very last hole here to get it up as far as I can. I also notched it as well, just to move it up as far as I can. I got about 2 fingers gap between here and here. And when the car was sitting underneath its own weight, the center of the drive shaft was roughly about just a little bit lower than this bolt here. So I'll have about a good couple inches of up travel before it hits the top of our drive shaft hoop. So it's just one single bolted right now. Like I said, I'll take it out for a drive, make sure everything's good. If everything's good, then I'm just gonna go ahead and TIG weld that upper piece on, or at least tack weld it so it won't. Like if the bolts came loose, it doesn't want to fall into the drive shaft. I'll at least do that. This setup is a lot cleaner than the last setup I had in the car. Like I said, I welded the last one in and had to cut it all out. And in order to get the drive shaft out, I had to undo it from the yoke back here, make sure that the rear end was all the way down so I could pick the drive shaft up, go over the top of the rear end, and then slide it out. This one I made sure to have enough clearance where all I have to do is take the bolts off, pull the lower part of our loop out, and then I can drop the drive shaft. So definitely a lot easier than the last setup. But yeah, that's where I'm at with the car right now. I believe in the last video I mentioned I ordered a transmission pan for this thing, so that should be here pretty soon. And so I'm going to get that installed before I get it back on the ground. So I got a few more days left here. Just want to make sure I get all that buttoned up. You guys will be happy to know, though, I did manage to make an appointment for the dyno. So when I get back home on the 26th, I believe, May 26th is when I get back from work. I'll have the 27th to get this car ready, loaded up in the trailer, because the 28th, that Friday, we are at the dyno at 9:30 in the morning. So, and I know I'm excited. Can't wait to see what it'll do with the new turbo, especially since we got a new rear end in this thing, or a different rear end, different gearing. I'm really anxious to see how it performs. So, but anyways, that's where we're at. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hit that like button for me. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. And if you haven't seen the last video, go check it out. We're close to hitting 1,500 subscribers. So yeah, go check that one out. Comment in that video, help me build. You must be a subscriber though if you want a chance to win our giveaway, which is our nut rivet tool. Got that in the mail today as well. So as soon as we hit 1,500 subscribers, we'll be picking a winner. Again, thank you guys for hanging out. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And I'll catch you on the next one.